Hello, favorite people. It's your favorite girl, Biolami, and this is the Young Minds Corner podcast. Welcome to an amazing, interesting, the most unique. I'm really excited. You can see from the sound of my voice, right? And I have a surprise for you, my favorite person in the world. I hope you're excited because I am really pumped today. Thank you so much to everyone who have listened to our last episode, that is the demon called fear. We started this month, the month of March, on that note because we have to tackle some big things and march forward into greatness. Okay, so thank you once again for listening. If you have not listened, please, what are you doing with your time? Make sure to listen and share with your friends and family members. Okay, as I said that I'm excited today, I have somebody at the other end of the corner. Are you excited? Because I am excited. At the corner, we had like a guest in like 2 years now, because I've always been doing the solo podcast. And honestly, this solo podcast actually built me. But at the same time, I really do not want to deprive you, my favorite person in the world, the opportunity of listening to other minds. Okay, and that is why today I am not the only one on this conversation. I have the amazing, exceptional, the talented, the light of the world, the joy of the heads. Hiya, Jesus! I'm really excited because I promised to the corner that this year I would have a list of guests, and I mentioned some of the names of my guests on the conversation. I think our first episode this year, and Joyous Joy happened to slip out of my mouth from nowhere. And look at how my God is working miracles. Joyous Joy is at the other end of this conversation, and I'm really excited to have Joyous Joy join the conversation. So Joyous Joy is an exceptional host. She's a compere. She's a comms manager. She is a sweet soul, honestly. Like, I've met people online, and I've seen people's personality, but has actually stood out to me, and I'm really excited to have her join this conversation. With Jesus' joy in your heart, please welcome with me the joyous, the ever excited Sugar Bowl. Joyous Joy!
Oh my god. Wow. This this is like the sweetest introduction I have received, and I'm not even happy. Thank you so much, Violami. I am so excited to be here, and I heard you mention that my name slipped out of your mouth, and I didn't even know about that. Like, you didn't tell me that before, so you actually mentioned my name. Like, you went ahead, you spoke this into existence before it actually happened. I am so grateful, and it's really an honor to be here. I cannot wait for us to create this magic together, and I cannot wait for the listeners to have a great time when they are listening to this. Thank you so much for the honor.
I'm also very excited to have you join the conversation, and that is the power of speaking it out, saying it, and let the Lord just do His magic. I'm so honored to have you, and without any further ado, let's get right into the conversation, right? So we are going to start up the conversation with some little icebreakers here and there before we get into the pool of the serious conversation. So today we are discussing the topic, starting over the reality of building a career, the challenges, the wins, the lessons that comes with starting out in a new career or building a career, basically. So I hope that you are in to enjoy, learn, and implement some of the things you're going to be listening to in this conversation. All right. So, Joyous Joy, are you ready to go down this lane with me?
Yes. Let's go.
Okay, so number one question is, what's one childhood memory that made you realize you love media?
Okay, so I think the most memorable one has to be being glued to the TV. I was always fascinated by it. I was always fascinated by seeing people. We felt like I was, how you're in one one local village somewhere, and you're just seeing people from the abroad. That's how media felt like to me. I mean, I was always fascinated by the urban life, by seeing people, I grew up in an environment where a lot of people were still going to the farms, a lot of people were traders and all of that. And TV just painted an entirely different world for me, and I was fascinated. So I think that has to be the most memorable.
That's actually very beautiful, very beautiful. Number two is, what's the most unexpected lessons you've learned from event hosting? I know that you have many, but just share with us just one.
So I think that the first one has to be, so the unexpected, right? For unexpected lessons, it's the fact that everybody expects that because you are hosting the event, you know everything about the event. It's very unexpected that if I'm hosting an agriculture event tomorrow, I'm supposed to wear the cap of an agricultural person, and I have to speak their terms and all of that. That's how they warm up to you. So I didn't see that coming. I thought mine was to just introduce guests and leave, but I've actually learned that I have to like put myself in every single industry's shoes that I will be representing. So yeah, that's one.
That is very interesting. As an event host, you have to know everything. I remember one thing like that when I just started podcasting. Someone told me that I have to know a lot of things, and I'm like, "Excuse me, it should be just for me to talk about what I want to talk about. Why will I have to know about a lot of things?" But that's actually one unexpected shocker you get. I love that. Thank you very much. And the last one, I feel like I know the answer to this one, but I wish it would shock me. Okay. Okay, so the question is, who is the media personality or event host that you love, and why do you love them? Who is that person?
This this is unfair. This is very unfair.
I love
You want
it.
me to pick one person that I love? Hey, oh my god, I need to think about this. Like, I love a number of people, and it's very unfair that I have to pick one person. But I think
All
that
right, you don't have to
for the
pick one.
benefit, okay, okay. So I think I heard you say that I don't have to pick one. So I think I'll just try to do justice. So the one person that drew me into this industry, that made me realize that it's actually possible, which is why um a lot of people would not even expect that, because I mean, she's not somebody I post every time or anything like that, or like I'm very very active on her page. That has to be Tomike. Tomike came to my school when I was in 300 level, and she spoke about how she studied microbiology, and currently or at the time she was working for Ebony Life as a presenter, and she came to my school to host an event, and that just resonated with me. I did not sleep that night. I was on her page all through. I just felt like if she could do it, then I can actually do it. So I got her contact. I was always you know messing around that page, always checking, always commenting, always sending DMs at the time when I was in school. So that is the first person. When they say media first love, it has to be Tommy Care. But after school, the math wasn't matching. And one of the things that I struggled to do, that I am just getting a hang of, is being present on people's pages. You know how people have like fan base. You know that there are certain people that would always comment. They would always do it. It wasn't something that I was good at. So that was what made me lost that connection with Tommy Care at the time, because I could not keep up. So the one person that I now have that is my favorite person right now, who is an event host, is Gloria Olufeko. But she wasn't the one who drew me into event hosting. It was Tommy Care first. And then when I met Gloria, when I came across Gloria, I knew I needed to do better. So that was when I became more deliberate. I learned how to now comment, how to be in people's faces, how to make yourself memorable in the heart of people. So I think it's safe to say Tomike and Gloria.
I love both of them actually, and I felt like I knew the answer, because I felt like you were going to mention the Gloria Olufeko, but you mentioned Tomike, and I love it. I love Tomike so much. Like, I have a similar story as yours, because I think she's one of the people that drew me so much into the media after like my own desire as well. And I love that also. So now that I think you are settled in the corner, have you picked your right seat? My own favorite spot at the corner is beside the kitchen because I'm a foodie. I hope you have your favorite spot also already, because we are about to enter into the conversation.
It's giving hot seats, but I think I'm ready for this. Let's go. I'm sitting in one of my favorite spots, so I think we can do this.
So you have your favorite spot. I have my favorite spot. Now let's get right into the conversation. I know myself and the Joyous Joy had like some conversation prior to this time, and that is why we are actually having this conversation today. And she said something that actually shocked me and blew me away. And I thought to myself, how? And now that I have the Joyous Joy on this conversation, I want to ask, how will you study anatomy and you are now a media personality? How did that even happen? Can you take us down the memory lane briefly? How it all started for you? What was the journey like? Why did you leave stability for media? It's over to you.
Okay, so I think I started laughing when you said, "Why will I leave stability for the media?" Because that's so true and that's so relatable, and that is my reality. But I also would not forget to mention how when you said that. How did I go from studying anatomy to becoming a media personality? And the Holy Spirit just dropped it in my mind that Joy, that is the word you always wanted. Like be like out it just felt like that's the best introduction, and it just occurred to me that I'm actually living in my answered prayers right now, and I'm really grateful to God. And I just thought to mention this and to encourage anyone that in case you are thinking about it, in case it looks impossible right now, I'm here to remind you that the plans God has for you, they are of good and not of evil, and God is always right. He's never wrong, I promise you. So how did I leave stability to come to this jungle or these trenches? Um, my mom is a nurse. I grew up in an hospital, and right from when I was in GS1 or even earlier than that, I just knew I mean, I was supposed to become a doctor. I would be in the labor room when my mom is like, attending to patients, when we have women in labor, and all sort of, medical dealings. I was always involved, always wanted to be a part of it. And I think my favorite has to be delivery, when they're giving birth to children. And I think by GS1 I got uniform and I started wearing nursing uniform. Nurse Joy. In fact, they used to call me Nurse Kikiri because I was very small, and I would just join the other nurses, and it felt right. It felt like the best thing for me at the time, until I started growing and I noticed some things that I found interesting. Like I mentioned earlier, I was fascinated by the space, the idea that there is actually more to life than where I am right now. And I think my scope was just too small to comprehend that, I can actually become a doctor and not be in this environment. I can be, because I see a lot of medical personnel right now that I have like visibility, media presence, and all of that. But at the time, I just wanted to be in the media space. I was fascinated by the TV. And I mean, just like everybody else who is in the media space right now, you were talking too much as a child, and they'll tell you, enjoy it poetry. That means you talk too much. And, I was always very social, very into house sports. I had that. But for me, it was, oh, you are smart, but you also have that part. So it wasn't like I was always, I wasn't so sure that I was going to do media until I got to, I think, SS2, because even in GSS 3 stroke SS1, when they ask science, art, or commercial, I confidently said science because I was supposed to be a doctor. It was like, it feels like, something that they've written concerning you, in the volume of the books that is written about me, I'm going to be a doctor. That was just right. So it was a given. I was supposed to just do that. And over time, in I think SS2, I got tired of physics, chemistry, and biology. It was just a lot to comprehend. I was just really exhausted. And I mean, that is not an excuse. Media is not fascinating. Media is also hard work. But I think what surprised me was the kind of assignments that I was seeing my friends in the art class doing. Assignments to go and look for more words. And one thing that always stood out for me is when I see anybody that speaks well, even till right now, if I see a man and he speaks good English, forget it. Forget it. I just love it. I just really admired the ability to communicate smoothly. I just really loved it. And so when I see my friends, they would give them like text dictionaries to come up with new words, to improve their vocabulary, literatures, and all of that. It felt like they were playing. They'll tell you that go and read this novel, and they'll be complaining, those storybooks are this, they are boring. I say read it. It's hard. It's fun. It's not physics. It's not chemistry. You're not looking for formulas. And I think at that point I started giving it a second thought that maybe the reason why this feels like hard work, which is physics, chemistry, and biology, is because it's not really fascinating for me. And I am not a very imaginative person. I am. What's the other word now? I relate more to the things that I see, things that I can touch and things that I can interact with. And I honestly really like the ability to, I just really love gatherings where people are together, where we are having conversations. It just really stood out for me. And I think as at SS3, after I finished secondary school, I knew that I was supposed to study mass comm, but I couldn't say anything because, I had filled jam form. And I think the torture came when, after secondary school, I got into a polytechnic to study food chemistry or food science and tech. Oh my god, I can't believe I've forgotten. Food technology, yes, that's about 2011, 2012. So Otto King back then. Food technology. And unfortunately for me, mass communication department was directly opposite my class. And so for every time I see these guys holding mics to be doing interviews, it was like a torture for me. And I would go and meet them. I would offer to help them. But I was studying food technology, and it wasn't adding up in any way. And at that time, I think while I was out of school waiting for admission, I was listening to radio a lot because I did not have access to TV at that time. I think I was always staying in my mom's store, so there was no TV. So the only company I had was Facebook, was radio before Facebook came, and then to go and the likes of it. So it was always radio. Tosin Buckner of Top Radio, of Top Radio, all the radio stations. I was always just glued to it. That was when it occurred to me that, so you mean people can make a career out of just talking? It feels like those ladies were just in the studio gisting. That's how radio felt like to me. Like, people can just sit down, be having a conversation, and that is a career. And I'm here trying to comprehend physics, chemistry, and biology. And I just told myself that I think I would enjoy this more. And from there, I knew I wanted to do media, but I wasn't sure how to navigate. And I just told myself that maybe after doing whatever medical course I'm studying, I would have to go back to do radio. And so I went into uni. I got anatomy instead of medicine, but I didn't mind. Anatomy is close to medicine, and I started. And I think by even before I got into uni, after my polytechnic days, the little time I was at home, people would just come to me and say, "Oh, we have this conference, in church. We have this sisters this, couples this, singles this. We want you to coordinate. We think you speak well. Take announcements. Take this, take that." So those were like my testing grounds. I was doing that a lot. And so when I got into uni, I think for my freshers program, you are a fresher. You know how they do freshers program? Like, it's supposed to be those that have been in the school that would coordinate freshers program. But for my freshers program, I was the one that co-hosted with someone in his final year. And a lot of people did not know that I was a fresher. They did not know that I was new. They thought I was also in my final year. We had a very great chemistry. It was smooth. It was fun. And that was it. That was how it happened. And later on I met Tommy Care. Even before I met Tommy Care, after the freshers program, a lot of people were recommending me to host for them within campus, or do this, do that. But I didn't think it was a career because I felt like it was for MCs, and I don't want to be a comedian. So I just wanted to do that to while away time. And then when I get out of school, I will go for a proper radio training and go and work in the radio. That was my dream. Media personality, radio girl. That was the name I wanted to be called. Until I met Tommy K and I realized, oh, So she went from microbiology to hosting event. She's a presenter on Ebony Life, and I started following that. Then after school, I went for I think after my project defense, I went to a radio station to intern, and I did exceptionally well. You would want to try some things and say, oh, maybe it's just my passion. What if I don't do well? Let me try this to see if I would even flop. But I did really well. The comments were great, and that just kept pushing.
Right. The story is actually amazing. Amazing. That's all I can say. Like, I loved so much. Like, I've just asked the number one question I have here, and you've answered like the first three questions I want to ask you. And that is the power of a communicator, of a media personality. And I give you kudos to that. Thank you so much for sharing without holding back. At what point did you realize that the degree you went to study in school was just for this degree's sake? And what was the event that triggered that experience for you?
So I think that right from when I was entering school, I knew it was going to be a degree. I knew it wasn't going to be more than a degree. I think if I ever considered doing or practicing or going back to the hospital to do anything related, it would be after school though. But during my time in school, I was so sure. When you are going through the fire, you just know that this fire this fire is not what I want to continue with. I knew from school, and everybody around me knew. There are certain people in your department that that these ones are just here for being here sake. They are not really here for they are not really here for what we are getting. So I knew from time, and I think that what went on to to solidify that decision is for every time I host an event and the feedbacks are great. Like it was always like a reminder. And I think another thing I see is when it comes to media, I am very audacious. I don't wait for platforms to create my own. I think from 300 level, 400 level, I wanted to be doing something before I got out of school, and I started a YouTube show. I spoke to people. Sometimes I still wonder what I was thinking. I wonder what came over me. I spoke to my friends. I spoke to co-hosts. We went to rent a studio. Scratch that, not studio. Somebody gave up their apartment for us. Oh my God, God bless these people wherever they are. I just spoke to our photographer who used to take all our photo shoots, because I was doing makeup at the time professionally, and I used to take pictures. And I spoke to him that, I actually want to do a video shoot. I want to do like a series where we'll talk about youthful struggles and all. And he said he does not know of any studio, and he can't use his own studio because it's not padded and all of that for voice production. And he said he would speak to a particular family that he thinks their interior would be great for this. And guess what? They agreed. These people don't even know me. They don't, till today. I don't think I have their contact. So I think seeing how God makes way for me on this path, seeing how I don't struggle as much. I'm not saying it's easy, but I think that if you're meant to be doing something, there is an ease that comes with it. Even if it's stressful, there is a conviction that no, this is what I'm going to be doing. So seeing how I was able to make much impact with the little resources, I just knew that no, this is what I'll be. This is what it should be. I hope that answers the question.
Actually, it is not little act because today I think I was seeing a video and the lady was like, oh, she recommend that everybody opens a YouTube channel, even if nobody's watching or anybody's listening, because even if you're not doing it for them, you're building up yourself. And I must say that most of those experiences you've had have built this joyous joy, and I'm really excited for it. So, moving on to the next question, I really just want to ask you. I know it's you mentioned earlier that there were ups, there are downs, even if God was in the midst of the fire with you, but there were some times where you were like, oh my God. So tell us, how has been your media journey so far?
So I think that just like every other career path, it has had its own share of ups and downs. I don't know if you want me to share like the down times, but I think that overall, it's just like every other career. I mean, I have been too disappointed to still be on this path. I have been too heartbroken to still be on this path. Things have not gone as I exactly expected it. After school, I was thinking that I would just tell anybody, you know what, don't pay me. I just want to be here for the experience. I'm going to be working for you for free. That was how confident. I'm saying it with this confidence because that was how I thought about it in my head until I got to the gates of media houses and I was bounced. And the people I thought, oh, I already made this connection, I already made that connection. I could not reach anybody. But right from where I was in the pit where nobody knows me, I like to call it the pit because I was in a state where I think another advantage I did not have is I thought that, or I used to think, or I still think that if I attended school in maybe Lagos or some other places, I would have certain quality connections or like friendships or networks that I can say, oh, that would give me access to platforms. But the school I attended, there are really no access. In fact, it's in Ogun State. I attended Olabisi Onabanjo University, and I know that that did not give me so much access. But I mean, I'm not going to be here to be talking about what did not work or how things could have been better. I believe God had it his own way. But I usually used to think that, oh, if I probably had those kind of connections or networks, I did not even have any friend, or I rarely have friends. It's now that I now have friends that are sociable, that are visibility driven. All my friends are not, nobody is really interested in Instagram. During that time, nobody was bothered about Instagram, followers, visibility, anything like that. It was just me. So I did not have friends that, we can even say, oh, let's record this together. You know how a lot of people are coming together now, they say, oh, let's go on this date just to create content, just to put stuff out there, just to encourage each other. Let's go for auditions together. I was in the midst of medical students or medical friends, so nobody could think the way I was thinking at the time. Now, I had a few people that I spoke to when I wanted to create my show, and I'm always going to be grateful to them. They were not really into media or anything like that. And I can tell you categorically that right now, some of them are now doing media full time. But at the time, we were all medical students, and I just, identified and said, oh, I think this person speaks well. I think this person will be good for this show. And we started like that. So it's been filled with ups and downs. If I had to go back, would I have it another way? When I was in this situation, I would have said, oh, I wished I went to this school. I wish I had these friends. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. But right now, I'm going to tell you that no, I have no regrets. I believe it all played out according to God's plan.
Right. That's really amazing. And you said something that actually stood out to me. You said that you've been too disappointed to still be on this path. And I was thinking to myself, really? Like, what's the motivation? So I want to ask you, were there a point in your life where you second guessed your decision to follow the media path?
Yes. Have there been times when I doubted my desire to, or my decision to be on this path, and what has been the motivation to continue? I have honestly lost count of the number of times that I have been faced with such mountains. I think that I will use the most memorable one, and it has to be the time where I was I got tired of waiting for a media job or being a media personality because bills won't pay themselves, and I needed to move on, and I got into 9 to 5, and 9 to 5 is like another jungle on its own. And while I was there in the 9 to 5, this thing was beginning to set in. Frustration was beginning to set in. I was beginning to lose my joy. I was beginning to question myself for being there because I wasn't feeling it as much. There's a fulfillment that comes from doing what you're supposed to be doing. And so for every time I saw people doing the things that I want to be doing, I started getting frustrated. And as a child of God, I said, God, what's this? Where's this coming from? Before envy will start, I started trying to get back into the media space. I started creating content again because that was the only thing I could do from the comfort of my 9 to 5. And I remember that at some point, I got auditions. Like I started getting interviews a lot. I would go for this audition. I'll get to the final stage. And I think one of them, they offered to pay me out 9 to 5. And the interviewer laughed and said, you're going to leave your job. In fact, it was 150K. I was earning 150K. And the person said, you want to leave a 150k job for a 75k job? Do you know what you are doing? I said, this is what I've always wanted. I want to be on this path. If I have to make the sacrifice to start, I don't mind. And the person was like, I'll get back to you. And I thought that would at least motivate anybody. Like, it would show them that this girl really wants to do this. But these people did not pick me. And their reason is they think it's unfair to give me that kind of salary. They wish me all the best. They hope that I will get a better offer. When they are willing to offer something else, they will reach out to me. I really can't remember the details, but I was livid. I was angry at God. And I said, God, what more do you want? I know this is what I should be doing. This is me sacrificing my income, my glory, everything, to just start from anywhere. And it wasn't forthcoming. And I was really frustrated, and I told myself at the time that, what, I'm done. I'm not going to be chasing media. If God really wants this thing to happen to me, media will be the one to chase me. And for every time I say words like that, I always hear this voice that will tell me nothing is going to come and chase you. Like, no matter how frustrated you are, you have to be the one. Because what would they chase? They cannot chase. They don't know how good you are. They don't know the potentials you are, because you are on your 9 to 5, or you are at your 9 to 5 job. But I think that God proving his word to making sure that they come to look for me while I was doing my 9 to 5. I got my first event hosting paid gig while I was doing 9 to 5, while I had never posted about event hosting. I think if I posted anything related to event hosting, it would be about a year or 2 years before then, when I hosted someone's 50th birthday, and Nathaniel Bassi and some other major ministers of God were in attendance. My pastor recommended me for that opportunity, and I posted about it. And I just moved on to my 9 to 5 like that. But this person just called me out of nowhere, said, "Oh, we have this event, and I think you would be a perfect person. You'll be the perfect person to host this event." And I'm like, "Wait, what are you saying? Me? When I've never posted, when I did not tell anybody I'm looking for event hosting job. Can you do it?" Yes, I can do it. And that was how he came back to look for me. So I think that that answers the question. The time when I was frustrated, I just thought, what, I'm done with this. I don't think this is really for me. If this is for me, this thing should chase me. I'm done chasing it. And God made sure that it came for me while I was at my job.
Very much. That is actually really interesting. I must say that you've lived different lives because you are the one who dropped anatomy to radio, now 9 to 5, then event hosting. You've lived different lives, and I must say kudos to you, honestly. So I wanted to ask this question, but I think you already answered, but I will still ask it anyways. What's the hardest part of leaving the radio? Because you started off the conversation and you said how you love the radio, you had the radio and you loved it. So I don't think this is the path I want to follow anymore. Please go ahead.
So I think that the difference between radio and what I do at the moment is having to learn to be camera conscious. Because I still speak right now. I can still be a TV host. I can still do YouTube. I'm just not doing radio. But I don't think that I had any issue with the detachment, because right from time I wanted to do radio, but I knew that radio was supposed to be a means to an end. I did not think that radio would be my entire life. I felt like even if I was doing radio, I would still do it alongside TV. I would still do it alongside YouTube, podcasting, and every other thing. And for me, right now, I still feel like it is possible, because I always tell people that purpose is not a destination; it's a journey. When I see people leave radio jobs and say they are tired of radio, I always wonder, is everything okay at home? Are you kidding me? The radio that I really want, that I would do anything to get, and you're telling me you're walking away from it. It just never made sense to me. Right now, if there is an opportunity for me to come work at the radio station, I think the perspective would be different, right? I was telling a friend just today that for every event that comes my way, I believe that God handpicks my event for me.
Right.
Now, is there a possibility of me doing a radio job? Maybe, maybe not. The most important thing is if it is aligning with what God is doing in my life at the moment. I am very conscious of the trajectory of my life. I know that God is handpicking his